Welcome back, guys. So today on this episode, we're going to try to put a ducktail on or try to get it to fit. No one makes a ducktail officially manufacturer-wise. Everyone doesn't have them anymore. They just never sold well enough, so they never produced them. I like the look of the ducktail. So I have actually this one right here that actually I got from a member. He actually had it made for me on Datsun. Well, I'm having trouble speaking. Datsun.com. His name's Fred. If you do a search on it, you'll be able to find. Before he made a big batch up and sold them off to people. So he was nice enough to have one made up for me. He doesn't make it, I don't think. He actually has the mold, and he has another company make it. It was nice of him, but I mean, there are some issues with this one. It doesn't fit. It doesn't really fit. He told me though. He gave me a heads up. Let me know that it's going to need a little work to be able to fit. Looked like it wasn't a good mold though, because they already kind of tried filling up the screen. Well, I'm looking at my camera. Tried filling up the screen, the ducktail up with some filler, fiber. I don't know what type of filler this is, but a lot of pinholes in through here. But it's okay. I mean, I think I can get it to work. So a lot of sanding. The big issue I kind of have with it though, I've been trying to line up, trying to get the center is, like when you put this in there, it is twisted really bad on that side. So, I mean, you can twist it and try to get it to hold. I mean, I am new with fiberglass. I've never installed anything like this for a spoiler. Everything I had before, other cars was always like a bolt-on. This, I'm going to actually have to graft into my steel. So, I've watched some videos on how some people did it. I mean, the truth is there's really no good way to do it that's going to make it last long term unless you have a complete deck lid fiberglass completely molded to it. So doing a steel one to a fiberglass, it's not going to last long term. I know it's not going to. Eventually it will crack. That's just the price you pay. Best thing is try to take care of it. It's going to be a garage queen, so I'm not too worried about it. It'll last a long time. So I'm actually going to use I have some M3 special glue for panels. I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to use fiberglass around it to get it to stay in. So the problem is it's twisted. So I'm trying to figure out the best way how to get it untwisted. Heat. That's the only way I've seen some people do it with a heat gun. So I am going to go ahead. I have it marked off pretty much evenly across how I want it. So I'm going to actually start from the middle and work my way both sides. And then I'm going to strap it down and tape it down and take a heat gun a little bit on each side, a little bit at a time until it starts to mold to it and form better. Then I do have to sand the bottom of it and fill in the holes because I do have a gap in here because the trunk, how the design is into it. It looked like it was supposed to somewhat have it in through here. I'm not quite sure. And it is not directly in the middle, so it's not wide enough, so it can't be from that. So we'll go ahead and try to get this to work. I mean, if I can't get it to work, it's on me because I'm pretty sure someone that knows what they're doing can have no problem doing it. So this is a lesson learned. I mean, I do have other trunk lids, so this one's not perfect, but it's one that I don't mind trying to do just in case I screw it up. All right, guys, so we're back. I did a lot of sanding on this. If you notice, I probably took this thing off over 100 times, trying to get it the best seal I can. And this thing was twisted really bad. So I had to keep grinding the bottom part here. Even on top of this, it's hard to tell. It's still lightly a little twisted, but I was able to sand more and brought this end down the more I sand off this side. So I am kind of happy the way it went with it. Now, I need to figure out how I wanted to mold it or infuse it to the steel panel. The M3 does have a good product out there. I was thinking about going that route, but it's $60 for a little bit. This isn't a perfect trunk. This isn't the spoiler. It's not as perfect as I like for it to be, and it's not a show car, so I don't want to throw that type of money into it. So I've been doing some other research. I'm excited to go with some JBL plastic bonder. It says for carbon fiber, other types of fiberglass, to metal it'll stick to. This right here is like $7. I got picked up 2 of these, so I'm gonna give that a shot, because after I go ahead and glue this down to it, I will go ahead and I will actually put fiberglass strain around it and filler, smooth it all out to make it look nice, and that would also top of it. And I do got this the way I like it is now. I just have these one in place, so I'm going to remove it. I did go ahead and rough the metal all around it to make sure it has good adhesion to it, and the bottom of the spoiler also. There's not much surface area on the spoiler to glue it. So when I put it all up here, I got some ratchet straps. I'm going to throw it around here, help squeeze it, press it down, and hold it, and I'm going to let it dry overnight. And then tomorrow I'll come back and check it out, and then I'll probably start doing some fiberglass. So let's go ahead and give this JBL a try. Okay, it's the next day, so let's go ahead and take these straps off and see how well it looks. Feels nice and solid. I actually like the way it came out. I mean, it got a little messy through here. Not too worried about it. Lots of them covered by fiberglass, then I'm going to sand it, so I think we're good. Not major gaps or anything. Felt like it filled it, made it nice and strong. Okay, so the next process is, this is stuff I had left over from my other fiberglass projects. So I'm going to use the mesh type of fiberglass. There's different types. Ugh, got some crap in it. I'll have to clean it. So I'm going to cut little strips to go across it for the first layer way around. Mix up some fiberglass resin and then put it on top of it. Maybe I'll build it up, maybe see how it goes, 2-3 coats maybe of fiberglass, let it dry. Might have to put some more onto it, but sand it down, try to get everything to blend nice and neatly. So let's go ahead and wipe everything back down, clean it, and maybe sand some of these places where I got too much of that JB Weld onto, just rough it up a little bit, make it easier, better things to stick to. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so I went ahead, did some sanding onto it, tried to feather the edges out the best I could. First time laying fiberglass, so I did run into a lot of issues. I could kind of tell where there was an air bubble or it was soft underneath it. So I went and took my die grinder and I just grinded it out. So I have little holes and pits in different areas, not too many, but I'm going to have to go through now and refill it. Since it's fiberglass, I do have some low spots. I'll make sure there's no pinholes. I'm going to use Bondo fiberglass short strain. I'm going to add some resin to it to make it more liquidy, to help seep into the gaps a little bit more, and hopefully be able to feather it out better. So I am going to actually go over the whole thing with this. I was pushing through, just stand up through here. It had a little hole punched through the fiberglass from where it was molded up and right here to that. Just not a good, wasn't a good mold, but oh well. So I'm going to put a layer of fiberglass over all of this. Then I'll sand that down, feather it, and then I'll go through and finish cleaning the rest up, and then I'll probably do a skim of body over the whole thing, just to make sure, but I will put some guide coat down for it. So let's go ahead and get this prepped up. Okay, so I ran out of fiberglass when I was doing it, but I think I got enough on it to be able to sand. But I'm gonna wait till it dries. It is pretty tacky. I did put down here, it's brown or reddish. Well, it's kind of probably telling this light. I put too much harder into it, so it dried up on me really quick. So I lost a good amount doing that, but I got it built up through here. So I'll go through, hit it with just 40 grit real quick on top of the DA, just to knock the highs down. Then I'll probably go and sand it by hand. Then I'll go through, clean all of this up, and then sand it probably with 80. Then I'll go ahead and put some body filler on top of it. So that's the plan. So it's probably time to dry. I got other things. I'm jumping around making multiple videos at one time, so hopefully I don't get this all mixed up. Alright guys, so back at doing the spoiler part. So I decided I'm going to do a full skim over the whole tail panel. So I'm going to actually give Summit Racing, this is their brand. I mean, I forget what it's compared to, but it has decent good reviews. It says it sands nice and flows nice. It is a very hot day today. Sorry about the noise, neighbors cutting grass, planes are flying over. I wanted to do this out in the driveway so I have more room, but pollen is everywhere. So clean the panel with Windex and wax and degreaser, clean it up wise. So we're gonna give this stuff a shot, see how well it flows. And I do got some from Evercoat Plastic Honey. Everything I've read, I've seen other people use this. They say pretty much makes any cheap Bondo like the high-end gold from Evercoat and some good quality stuff. So we'll see how well this is. For this, I'm using the tearaway panels for it because I want to make sure I get a good enough finish. So I'm just going to do a light skin coat on top of it, sand it down with, knock down 40 grit, then sand it with 80 grit, and then I'll probably go ahead and then put a guide coat on top of it. I guess I'll show you what I've got later once I get to that part. So let's just go ahead and mix enough up. I'm not going to need as much harder, I think, today because it is actually really hot out. So let's get this prepared. Alright, so one round so far. I'm actually pretty happy with it. So I start out with 40 grit on the DA sander, I put 80 on DA sander just to help knock it down. Then I went by 80 and did it by hand. Made it go a lot faster. I did put a lot on this, more than I probably needed to, not going back at it. Problems you do gotta watch out using the DA sander. See these other little swirls? That's when you get, this one's way over, but it does get build up. I don't know if I didn't put enough harder in right away. I think it took forever to dry. It was just like gunking up. It wasn't like tearing it away. It was just rolling up more. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. But after it like completely dried, it does powder up and sand really nice. So I did put more honey on this side than I did on that side just to see the difference. I didn't notice much of a difference, even sanding wise. This side was a lot runnier putting on than that side. So it did make it harder when getting up through here, but that's okay. So after sanding it, used the long blocks, used a whole bunch of different blocks. I mean, I spent a lot of time. Like right here, I don't know if this shows up, it's hard to tell, but it's darker. So there's a low spot, that's a low spot. But that hit metal, high spot, high spot. They got a low spot right there, right in the middle. It's kind of weird. So then up through here, I knew this was where probably most of it is, or it's darker, a lot of low spots. And through, I didn't put any in through here yet. I'm going to. I was really concentrating just most in there. I thought most of this would sand out, like you can see around the edges where it's sanded out, and you can see where the metal and that's starting to pop through. So I just went ahead and stopped. This side's not as many. There's a low spot there, a line there, and there. So the pull-away boards I did like. It's good for small quantities. If you're doing a big batch like that, it took me 2 because the board's not that big and the paper, it doesn't hold as much, and it's harder to mix it up onto without spilling over and get onto the other papers. So some like next part, the paper would play a lot better because I don't need to make as much, because I'm just going to come back in through here. I'm going to put like here, like right in here. So I'm going to go probably a few inches out, 1 inch to 2 inches out from the high spot. And then through here, I'll probably just coat this whole thing again. I mean, it's high right there. It's coming through high, but then you got these weird low spots. So I'll probably coat all of this up again and just then make sure I sand it back down good. Up and through here, some low spots, but then, you know, just where it needs it, so I don't put too much on. Then after I do that, sand it, then hopefully it'll be good. I will put some, after I put on Let's Set, I will put sand it just for a little bit. Then I will put some guide coat down onto it. And once that's nice, I'll flip it over. It's easier to do the other side when it's upside down. So I'm not really showing this in time lapse or anything because there's no point. I mean, I'm not a professional. Just giving you ideas the way that I'm doing it. Is it the best way? Who knows? Okay, so I went ahead though first and circled all the low spots. Starting to get dark outside, so you can kind of see. Kind of went a little bit past with pencil, so I'm gonna just go in. I'll just do this like this spot right here first. How it is with the 80 grit. Just scuff it up. Doesn't need much because I'm within most of the day. Just get it. Okay, and then I'll go through with body filler, then wipe it on top of it, and then I'll start sanding until this is scratches. So usually if it's like more of a low spot though, you would stop right when you start seeing that outside ring. This, here are the scratches, so I'll just go through it and just keep sanding it, mark it. So that's what I'll do with like these here. I'll sand all this in through here, pretty much fill from here all the way over, sand until I start seeing this ring, then I'll stop. Might take the views don't seem too high. Maybe I'll go with a hammer and just tap them a little bit, since they're so close to everything else. They'll hopefully blend in. So I might do that. Okay, so I went over it with 120 and 180. Did 120, then went back with spots that looked low. I added more of the powder and sanded it. So now we can actually really see how good things are. I didn't really do anything back here yet. Just trying to concentrate on getting one of this area done at a time. So got from here, low spot where it's really dark, low spot in there, big low spot right in here, so you can feel how low it is. So good amount there, and right through here, because like, so you can feel it here. It goes down, goes up a little bit, then back down, little wave. It dips really good right in here. So that, and a little bit over here, and quite a few high spots. So one thing about using a DA sander, you can kind of see like how deep and scratch when you start sanding Bondo or primer, you can get build up onto it and it keeps spinning. It cuts into it. It can make a bigger mess. So those are deep, just really deep scratches. So I have to go back over, just lightly. I'm gonna scuff it with 80 grit. I'll probably start and do small little sections at a time and fix it instead of trying to do all of it at once, so it doesn't get overwhelming. So like here, these deep scratches, I'll hit 80 on through here. Then I'll do a clear glaze, not clear, but glaze it very, very thin onto it, dry, sand it, and then just keep hopping around to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing that. All right, here it looks like now after epoxy primer. Looks really good. I know I'm going to put some high build on it. It needs some more sanding. I seriously put too much filler on this and sanded way too many times. I got very tired of doing it. So, but it looks good. It gives me a good motivation of what it's going to look like on the car now. And I was able to get most of the car in epoxy. Pretty much the parts where I know I need to do body work. I didn't show you all detail because I spent a good amount, probably a little over 2 days, just sanding the back half of the car. I mean, I still haven't done the engine bay, but I just got it in. So it's Summer Racing epoxy I did. I mean, I used drum roll, sandpaper, like 80 grit, certain places up to 120, tried to feather out because some of the paint couldn't come off on the roof. Let's go. But I'm happy with it. I only put one coat on. Pretty good heavy coat though I put onto it though, so because I know most of it's gonna probably get sanded and come off because the roof needs a lot of work. And then obviously this tail quarter panel, I don't know whether you can tell in the light or not, and the back, since it was already coated in black, I just went with 50 on a DA sander and sanded that. I didn't tape anything up or anything because I didn't really care too much about protecting a lot of the stuff, a lot of it in the sand. So yeah, like in the door jambs, I had still rust, like the rust hole pits and all that. So I went through, sanded it best I could, cleaned it, rust treated it in different areas, and then I put Eastwood capsulator, black capsulator on top of it, let that dry, and then finished off today. Probably can't see me too well. So I think that's it for the spoiler. I hope you guys saw what I did, liked the idea. You didn't think it was. I mean, it's not like your official one. A lot of people told me like, well, this part down here is supposed to be closer down where the keyhole is. I don't care. You know what? I like it. It's nice, smooth. A lot of pinholes, but like I said, I'm gonna put high build primer onto it. I won't be able to sand on it though, really for 3 to 4 days, because this epoxy primer dries very slow. See, like here, I got a bug on it. I don't care. It's gonna be sanded. So, and then I do gotta put seam sealant through there. But hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry, I'm starting to ramble on. Now it's gonna take me a while to put the video together because I've been doing it all on my phone. So if you guys like what I like, please give me a comment, like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video.